My name's Ophir, and it sounds like fear with an O in front of it. And it's pretty funny because most of my life I was filled with fear. And at this point in my life, I almost have no fear. In fact, you might even call me No Fear Ophir. So this talk is for anybody that wants to go from not knowing what to say to people, not knowing what to do when it comes to business, to knowing exactly what to say and exactly what to do and having the business that you want to have. This talk is for anybody that wants to go from not having commissions to making $500,000 in commissions or more. This talk is for anyone who wants to go from not feeling confident to feeling like every consumer that's out there should be working with them. That's the goal here. So this talk is for anybody that wants to become powerful. It's for anybody that wants to go from not being able to talk to people, from not being able to get the business they want to get, from having all sorts of limiting beliefs that block them from accomplishing their goals, to being powerful, to people respecting you, to people wanting to work with you, to you feeling absolutely confident that you're the best person that anybody should work with. Now, I believe that anybody in real estate should be able to go from zero to making $250,000 within the first 2 years. I believe that anybody in real estate can be a listing agent right at the beginning of their career when they're shown how to by the right person. I believe that everybody should make at least 6 figures in real estate and then go on an upward trajectory from there. I remember when I was 9 years old and my parents decided to send me to survival camp in Canada. And I remember very clearly because they had to sign a waiver in case I died while I was at the camp. And that wasn't the best beginning. And so I was a little scared, and I remember flying into this camp on a seaplane because it's the only way you could reach the camp. It was in the wilderness in Ontario. And so we flew in on a seaplane, and all I could see was ice on the water. And it was June, and I didn't understand why there's ice on the water in June. And finally we land, and they grab us, and they take us, and they throw us in canoes, and they paddle out 1/4 mile. And they say, sink or swim. They dropped us in the water, and I couldn't even breathe. When I hit the water, it was like the wind was knocked out of me. And I finally mustered up the courage and swam all the way to the shore as quickly as I could. And some people didn't make it. They grabbed them, they pulled them out of the water, and that was the end. And that was the first test that we had when we got there. The last test that we had was on the last night that we were there. And we were all standing around a fire in the middle of the camp, and we each were naked, and we had to go across the island, and we had to get a feather, and we had to bring it back, and that would be our final test. And so there were about 10 of us, and I just remember that the boy that went in front of me was a few years older than me, and he was gone for 15 minutes, then he was gone for 20 minutes. And finally, they had to send a counselor out to go find him because they didn't know what happened to him. And they came back about 45 minutes later, and the kid was just white as a ghost. I've never seen anything like it. And the counselor's laughing, and he's telling us that he literally caught him right before he stepped off of a cliff. Because you couldn't see your hand in front of your face. Once you left that fire, the ring of fire, you couldn't see your hand in front of your face. And now it's my turn. And I'm scared. And they call on me, and I start running, and I leave the fire, and now I'm in darkness. And I run for about 5 minutes, and then I freeze. And I'm paralyzed. And it feels like an hour. And it's actually only about 30 seconds that passed. And one of the French Canadian counselors came up to me, and he said to me, your baby, you go back. And I just remember, here's what I said to him. And I remember summoning up all of my courage, and I looked right at him, and I said a word a 9-year-old should never say. And then I gave him 2 thumbs up, and I started running all the way across the island. And by the way, they weren't my thumbs. I think you can guess which fingers they were. And I started running across the island, and I didn't even think about it. I didn't stop. I didn't have any fear. It was instinct, and I followed my path. And I got there, and I got the feather, and I ran all the way back. And then as we're standing in the fire, they bring out a native tribe leader. And we're all standing naked around the fire, and he's sitting by the fire, and he starts to tell us, I have a wolf inside me, he said. It's dark. And I have a wolf inside me, and it's light. And the dark wolf is anger and fear and ego and scarcity. And the white wolf is power and abundance and clarity and focus and kindness. And they're constantly in a struggle. And I said to him, which one wins? And he said to me, the one you feed. And now here I am 30 years later. I am newly licensed real estate agent in Los Angeles. And I'm sitting in my car, and I'm hanging onto the steering wheel, and I'm basically about to rip the steering wheel off because I'm so frustrated. And I had just gone door knocking, and somebody had yelled at me. And I felt so angry and so frustrated. I felt like I was a failure as a real estate agent. I felt like I was a failure as a human being. And how could I allow somebody else to throw me off my game, make me feel bad? And it was a horrific feeling. And that's when it hit me, this story that I remembered from my youth. I had been feeding my dark wolf for almost 20 years. I fed my dark wolf so much that it was like a Rose Float parade. If you're from New York, it's like a Macy's Day Parade, right? One of those floats in the Macy's Day Parade. That's how much I fed my dark wolf. I fed my dark wolf alcohol, cocaine, ecstasy, marijuana, and finally meth. I like to do my drugs in alphabetical order, by the way. And so here I was just constantly feeding my dark wolf. And what I realized was there was no way for me to move forward while I was feeding my dark wolf. While I was so deep entrenched into all of my negativity and all of the reasons why I would fail, why I shouldn't have the success that I wanted to have, instead of feeding my white wolf and empowering myself to believe that I'm capable of doing anything that I want. And taking it one step further, taking it to a place where I know that success is meant for me. And finally, I kept feeding my white wolf till I got to a place where nothing could shake me off of my game. I call it being bulletproof. Imagine being bulletproof. And I'm not talking about Superman in life. I'm talking about bulletproof in your convictions, in your values, in knowing, in your alignment, in knowing who you are, and knowing what you bring to the table. And to go from that place of not having any confidence, not feeling like I deserve to be in real estate, not feeling like anybody would ever want to work with me, to continually feeding my white wolf until I get to this place where I am confident, I am empowered, I am excited to talk to people on a regular basis. And I went from having no business to being the #1 listing agent in all of Keller Williams, California within 2 years. And I went from nothing to becoming one of the top listing agents in all of Los Angeles. In the past 15 years, I have helped hundreds of agents go from not having any confidence to having business quickly and easily. I've helped so many agents go from not knowing what to say to people to knowing exactly what to say to people every single time they talk to them. I have supported agents stepping into their light, stepping into their power, understanding the value that they bring to the table, and attracting clients easily and effortlessly. You know, one of the most common questions I get asked is, Ophir, can you help me become a listing agent? And the answer is absolutely yes. If I can do it, anybody can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. If I can do it, everybody can do it. When they have the right teacher, when they're shown the right way of doing real estate, of building communication with clients. When you know these 4 pillars, and I should hold up 4 fingers instead of 5, because when you know these 4 pillars of real estate, then the game of real estate becomes so simple and easy, and it becomes fun. And so what are the 4 pillars of real estate that we're going to talk about today? Number 1 is connection. People work with you because you build the most amount of rapport with them. So how do you build rapport and connection quickly and easily with people you don't know? That's the first pillar, and we teach you that so simply. The second pillar is sourcing sellers. See, so many agents are focused on working with buyers and working with all the people that would potentially work with them instead of having a niche, instead of having an intention of focusing on building their database full of sellers. When you source your sellers and you build a database full of sellers, then you become a listing agent. Number 3 would be nurturing them, right? Because you may get immediate business from talking to people. You will get immediate business from talking to people. And the best part of communicating with people is the future business, is nurturing. Nurture. When you learn how to nurture clients, they become your client and you become a listing agent with a big market share in a geographic area. And the last piece is knowing your numbers. So once I know my numbers, once I know that if I'm working a 1,000 home farm and I'm door knocking 25 people a week, which is 100 people a month, which is 1,200 people a year, well, how many of those people are going to give me their contact information, are going to say, nurture me, nurture me? They're literally going to say, nurture me. So out of every 100, 25. So that would be 300 people in 1 year that have given you their contact information and asked you to stay in communication with them. How powerful is that? When you put these 4 pillars together, then you are on your path to making $500,000, $1 million, and much more than that. Everyone else is telling you that you need to join a team. Everyone else is telling you that you need to work with buyers at the beginning of your career. Everyone else is going to tell you that it's going to take a long time before you're able to make consistent money in real estate. And I'm going to tell you the exact opposite. I'm going to tell you that you can quickly and easily become a listing agent. Within 90 days, you can start to get appointments regularly, and you can start to get listings very quickly within 90 days. You can start to get listings within 90 days. And I'm going to tell you that you can not only become a listing agent, you can actually take over a nice market share in a farm when you do the right things the right way. And so this is your opportunity. 2025, I see as the biggest opportunity anybody will ever have in real estate to build a listing business. So the question is, are you going to feed your dark wolf? Are you going to feed all of the things that tell you that you can't succeed, that you shouldn't succeed, that others are better than you, that you don't deserve this? Or are you going to take this opportunity and are you going to commit to feeding your white wolf, to getting into coaching, to empowering yourself into believing that you belong in the echelon of top real estate agents? Because anybody that works with me belongs in the echelon of top real estate agents. Which choice are you going to make? When I was in college, my best friend asked me to help him move a couch. And we've been best friends since we were 9 years old. And this couch was like a $10,000 couch because he comes from money and he had some money. And so they had a really nice couch. And I remember it because it was New York and it was the summer. And it was so hot and so nasty. But of course, as my best friend, I'm going to say yes, even though I was thinking some very other different things. I said yes. And so here we are, me and my best friend and his wife, trying to move his couch up the stairs. And if you've seen Friends, you remember the couch episode from Friends? It was exactly like that, except for we didn't even get as far up as they did. They got way farther than we did. We got about half a landing. Half a landing, we had that couch jammed in there. And it wasn't going anywhere, and people needed to get by. And eventually, what did we have to do? We had to break down the couch, his $10,000 couch. We had to dismantle and break, and he had to order a different couch. And so what's the moral of the story? The moral of the story is hire an expert. The best thing I ever did for myself was getting into coaching. The best thing I ever did for myself was learning the formula for success in real estate. So do you want to take your couch up 10 flights of stairs on your back by yourself? Or do you want to hire an expert with tools and techniques and systems to get you there?